Guys, the Tucson is done. I can't express to you the joy that I'm feeling right now. Well guys, looks like I'm not gonna be able to work today. Wait a minute, I got a garage now. Sorry for the corny intro. The goal for this episode, guys, and I say it almost every week, but this time I think it's actually gonna come true. It's gonna be to finish this Tucson. Tucson has been driving me crazy. I hate it with every part of my being. But I believe I will actually finish this thing in this episode and get this thing gone. But the first thing I want to do on this car is I want to finally look at the intake oil control valve. So I'm going to pull it out. We're going to do some testing on the ohms of it. We're going to test the actual fluctuation of the valve. We're also going to check to make sure that I have the wires in the correct spot. And then after I do that, I want to move on and get these little side markers installed, which you guys can't even see in the video right now. But basically, I want to put these bad boys back in. But first, I'm going to get cracking on the oil control valve, see if I finally got this thing right, and if it's broken or needs to be repaired and yada, yada, yada. Fingers crossed, I'm going to get after it. See you in a bit. All right, so I ended up taking out the oil control valve and I ended up testing the ohm resistance between the two terminals. They checked out. I then pulled it out and checked the actual valve to make sure the valve was free and moving freely. That checked out, was pretty good. The other thing I found out is that I did have it wired up correctly. The right terminal was on the right side. Unfortunately, this plug broke and I haven't been able to find one at the junkyard. So I've been having to just literally manually put it on there. But the one thing I did notice was that these connectors did have a little bit of oil residue still left on them, and so did the terminals in here. I also found out that these connectors are a little bit loose. So what I'm gonna do is crank them down a little bit and they should be good to go. The other thing that I ended up finding was that there's a filter down here below that actually runs into the side of the head. I pulled that out and there was some gunk. It wasn't clogged up like I expected it to be, but there was definitely some type of material in there from probably before I even did any of the work. I didn't know that I had to pull that thing out and clean it. So anyway, it's clean now. And I believe between the combination of doing that filter, crimping down these wires, and then changing the oil, because I think when I did the seafoam, I ran the oil so thin that it probably created a different pressure for this. I think between those three things fixed, this thing shouldn't pop off again. Fingers crossed, that's what I'm hoping. The other thing that I ended up doing was I finally got the side markers on. Unfortunately, you can't see it because the lights are so bad here. They were pretty easy to install. I'm happy I finally got them on. Now what I would like to do is I actually want to tackle the windshield wiper arms. I have them down here, and again, you can't see because the light's so bad, but what I want to do is take the windshield wipers off, sand down the windshield wiper arms, and then spray them out nice. And then what I'm going to do is tackle these floor mats. So I think what I'll do first is scrub them all down hard, vacuum them out pretty good, and then I'll paint them back to black. With all that said, I'm going to get started on these arms. See you in a bit. All right, it's the next day. I ended up painting one of the floor mats and both of the windshield wiper arms. The windshield wiper arms came out pretty good. I'm really happy. So I think you can see just how clean they came out. As for the floor mats, I'm not against them 100%, but I'm definitely not for them 100% either. The black came out pretty good. I wonder if they've actually painted them before. I don't know, it just looks so weathered and tired. I went out to get more spray paint, and then kind of while I was out there, I got lucky and found my normal floor mats that I put in these cars. If this looks better, I'm gonna go with this. And then I grabbed a sway bar link because I'm pretty sure I have a bad sway bar link on this side. Something is still kind of making little clunking noises. And I remember one of these had all the rubber boots worn out. So that's what I'm gonna tackle next. First, I'm gonna do the arms, put them back on, probably check out the floor mats, see which ones are better. And then I'm gonna jack this thing up and kind of play with the wheels to see where I can hear that noise and hopefully get rid of it. So that's my plan for today. Do as much as I can, see kind of where it all ends up. I'm gonna get after it. It's the next day, guys. Things went a little crazy trying to do that sway bar link. I ended up getting the wrong one. That night, I was able to go get one that was a little more expensive right down the road. And I ended up testing the passenger side as well. Passenger side seemed to be really good. There's no playing it at all. I installed the windshield wiper arms, which came out, I mean, awesome. I am so happy with how good those look. This car is almost complete. It's kind of weird. I almost don't believe it. But the next thing I want to do is there is some dirty interior parts, just little spots like that on the brim of the visor that I got to clean up. After that, I'm probably going to vacuum this thing up a little bit, and then I might take the torch to some of those little plastic scratches. I want to see if it's going to help. So I'll probably test it in an inconspicuous area. And then if it works, come back and try to clean up the rest. After I get that done, I think what I'll do is come around and try to get all the pieces of rubbing compound that are still stuck in the areas of the car, along with on the trim. Anyway, I'm gonna get after it. See you guys in a bit. Okay, it is the next day. Me and the missus ended up bleeding the brakes again one more time, and finally the brakes are good. But right now what I would like to do is I want to get this exhaust cut. This exhaust tip sticks out ridiculous past this thing. So at the very least, I want to try to cut it into this hole a little bit. I want to wipe down the windows quick with some Windex, and there's this little rubber piece that I want to put in the center console. And then I think that's it as far as being in this garage. Either way, I'm gonna get started. See you guys in a bit. Almost done. I am so excited. I cannot wait. It is so very close. I can't wait to finish washing this thing, clean the engine bay, clean the tires, hopefully get all the monitors to reset on the way for photos, and then hopefully get it smog today. Hopefully the smog. Everything else should be able to get done. Hopefully the smog. I ended up cleaning the windows. I think I showed you guys that. Everything is looking good. The exhaust came out really good. Threw the license plate on. I think it's done. Anyway, what I want to do right now is to head down, get this thing washed, and then bring it to get some photos. Let's get at it. Guys, the Tucson is done, 100% done. I am so excited. I can't even believe that it's all over. I can't express to you the joy that I'm feeling right now. I'm so happy to never have to look at that thing anymore. As you saw, I was heading down to the beach, and unfortunately when I got there it was a little noisy, so I wasn't really able to do this part. So right now I'm gonna do the before and after montage of this thing. Can't wait for you guys to see it and remember where this thing started to what it is now. Here it goes. See you in a bit. So after all that, guys, on the way back, I was able to get all the monitors to set, and I was able to go get this thing smogged. So the car is smogged, it's ready to go. It is literally going to be listed for sale any minute. I am so stoked to have this thing out of my life. It's not even in the garage anymore, it's out in the street. But now what's in the garage is the Kia. But that will be in the next video. So until then, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. Oh, and I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. See you next time, guys.